Welcome to the Happy Yuppie podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Happy Yuppie podcast. My name is Mighty Rasing and this is the podcast dedicated to helping you pursue your calling, engage the world, and sustain your life. You can subscribe via iTunes or via RSS feed, so you can also download our episode and load it manually to your phone or to your MP3 player. You know, I really encourage you to listen to podcasts while traveling, while waiting in line, or probably if you're just killing some time. So in this episode, we'll talk about the common mistakes made by applicants when they submit their resume, when they walk into the recruitment centers of their target companies, particularly those in the BPO industry. So listen to this episode as I interview a veteran recruiter about these mistakes and the tips on how to avoid them. So, hello everyone. This is Mighty Rasing for the Happy Yuppie podcast. Welcome. It's another episode. At for this episode, makakasama natin ang isang HR professional. I've known him for 10 years na. It's been a decade na because we met together at a conference ng Methodist Young People sometime back. So, ayun na nga. And lately, we've over the years actually we've communicated every now and then. We just ask about how we're doing pagdating sa work and all that. And then I had a conversation with him siguro mga about 2 or 3 months ago, and he shared to me one of the articles of Francis Kong tungkol dun sa pagpapalipat-lipat ng trabaho ng mga young people and not investing enough in one area para maging malalim yung pag-unawa nila sa isang career. And so what we are going to talk about is ano nga ba yung mga hinahanap sa call center industry, sa BPO industry, and ano yung mga general observations niya about the present generation of Filipino young professionals, lalong-lalo na siguro yung mga new graduates. So, ito, ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome si Mr. Melvin Dizon. So, Melvin, hi, kumusta ka na?
Hi, well, I'm doing good, thank you.
Melvin, I've told our listeners a little bit about what you do, pero can you describe your present career? What are you doing these days?
All right. Well, I work as a recruiter in a BPO. I've been with the recruiting industry, or in the call center business for 4 years now. So yeah, I started as a phone screener in the recruiting team, and then I transferred to the assessment team 2 years back. So it's I'm already with the recruiting team for 4 years.
Oh, so you've been a recruiter for 4 years. Pero how did you start? Did you start as an agent in a call center?
Yes, I did.
So if you put together your work as a recruiter plus your work as a call center agent, how long have you been with your present company?
It's almost 6 years.
Oh, 6 years. Alam mo, siguro for people our age, staying in a job for 6 years, it's like a long time. It's like forever. So, what made you decide to stay sa company mo?
Well, most probably because of the culture that the company has. And second, I don't want the hassle of preparing resumes again, pipila para kumuha ng requirements, NBI and all. So, ayoko yung hassle na ganun. At saka, na-appreciate ko kasi yung culture ng company where I belong right now, wherein sobrang ganun yung value na binibigay sa empleyado. Right? That's why I opted to stay in just one company for 6 years.
So, well, may balang ako ng konti. Did you always imagine yourself working in the field you're at right now?
No. I really wanted to teach. I really wanted to become a college instructor. It's just that, opportunities way back in the province is not that high. So I decided to move here in Manila. And, since call centers are already here, so I decided to try my luck in the industry as well.
Ayan. By the way, mga dear listeners, we are in a coffee shop, so pardon the noise. So I'll try to edit out some of the ambient noise so you can have a better experience of the audio. So, ayan Melvin, since you are in the call center industry sa BPO, siguro I will ask a little bit about the BPO industry right now. So, since as a recruiter, siguro what can you say about the BPO industry, about especially the call centers? Ano yung job outlook ngayon? Is it still booming? Nag-plateau ba siya or is it declining? So, can you tell us a little bit about that?
All right. I think it's still booming as we speak because the call center companies that we have right now in the Philippines are still that aggressive when it comes to hiring people. And we already have a lot of call centers in the country. As long as I believe the economy of the Philippines will be that stable, opportunities for Filipinos who would like to work in this industry will still be that high. We will still have high opportunities for everyone.
Wow, so at least our call centers are able to compete with, say, call centers from India or maybe Vietnam, di ba? So, tawag nito. So siguro could you just give us some benchmark? Can you estimate maybe how many people you're interviewing or considering for application on a given week? Sige, a week na lang siguro.
Well, in the site where I am currently assigned at, that depends on the site location where applicant traffic would usually go. In the site location where I'm at, around or in Crossing area, Mandaluyong area, on a daily basis, we would have like 80 applicants.
80.
Yes, that's 80. And recruiters would usually interview around 20 plus in a day. Maximum, the highest that I had so far was interviewing around 35 in a day.
Wow! 35! Ganon karami, no? So, siguro at the end of that day, nakakapagod din mag-interview.
That's correct. And I think interviewing for like 8 hours, that's really, nakakapagod. Na minsan, yung recruiters, para lang maintindihan din ng mga applicants natin na yung recruiters natin hindi actually kumakain yan on time just because they wanted the applicants to be covered on time, to be attended on time. Yun yung hindi naiintindihan. Tapos applicants will just walk out after 2 hours kasi hindi pa daw tinatawag. And ayun, yun din yung mga problema na nakikita natin na siguro yun yung mga struggles din ng recruiters na hindi naiintindihan ng applicants natin. Pero since it's our job, then we had to deal with it. Ganon.
So at least siguro yung mga applicants natin would also do well to remember na hindi rin sila yung center of the universe. Since they're applying, it's pretty good na maintindihan din nila the recruitment process. So with that in mind, Melvin, I would just like to ask you, what kinds of skills do BPO companies or call center companies look for? Ano yung mga skills na to?
Well, unang-una, that's the language or the communication skills. Yun yung unang-unang tinitingnan during the process. So, saka na lang siguro papasok yung sinasabi nating technical skills. Kasi unang-una, kaya ka nga nagtatrabaho sa call center kasi kailangan makipag-communicate with the customers. So, yun yung unang-unang tinitingnan natin in this industry.
So, that's number one, language and communication skills. So, can job seekers fulfill these skills?
I think so. Kailangan lang talaga ng practice and kailangan din nating parang we have to go back and brush up on the grammar skills that we learned way back elementary days. Kasi ngayon, ang nagiging problema natin, like me before, hindi ko din inisip na this will be the vehicle for me na magiging ganito ako right now. Hindi ko inisip, hindi ko rin parang binigyang importansya yung mga dapat kong natutunan sa English subjects ko, ganon. So, I think it's workable. Kaya naman, yun lang, kailangan talagang balikan at hindi kakalimutan kung ano yung mga naturo ng teachers natin way back elementary pa siguro.
So that's, yeah, I mean, kahit naman mga Americans kailangan nilang mag-review ng grammar nila So, I mean, in general, Filipinos are very good communicators in English, in general. But, of course, marami pa ring mga areas of improvement. So, tingin mo naman, what are the areas of need? Yung, siguro, one of the most common areas na dapat improve ng mga job seekers natin, lalong-lalo na sa call center industry.
Okay. Aside, yun nga sa communication skills na pinag-uusapan natin earlier, siguro tinitingnan natin dito yung commitment ng applicants natin, kung gaano ba to kami ka-committed, or eto ba yung tipo ng aplikante na after 5 months or after the company has invested into that person will just leave the company after 5 months. So we're also looking at the commitment of that person. So aside from the communication skills, we're also looking into the behavior of that person, because we believe na past behavior would always predict future behavior. So, yun, tinitingnan natin kung gaano ba ka-committed itong taong to, kung kailangan na naman bang mag-spend ng company in hiring like new trainees. Because for each hire, meron tayong tinatawag na cost per hire. And mahal yung cost per hire natin, mula pa lang sa ads hanggang sa... So, yun din yung gustong i-lessen ng bawat companies na nandito sa Philippines, especially sa call center.
So, since my cost per hire, can you make a comment about sa attrition rate sa call center? Kasi based sa mga anecdotal evidence, syempre mga blogs, mga reklamo ng ibang mga tao, it's that I know for a fact na there are some people who spend 4 months sa isang call center, 6 months sa isa, tapos I've heard of people who have been to 6 companies in only 3 years, mga ganyan. So can you make a comment on the attrition?
Well, attrition is quite high in the business kasi dahil din sa competition sa industry. So pag once yung isang company mag-o-offer ng sign-up bonus, a candidate would usually take advantage of that. Or kung may offer na mas malaki, yun yung tinitake advantage nila agad-agad without thinking na yung longevity or tenurity sa company, hindi niya naiisip yun, kundi kung ano yung kailangan niya at the moment. Yun yung tinitake advantage lagi. Kaya mataas din yung attrition dahil sa competition. So pataasan na kasi ng offers ngayon
So there's a little bit about the competition, naghahanap ng greener pastures, so to speak, or mas mataas na offer kung saang call center, diba? Pero siguro that's a very short-term thinking. Kasi pag nag-apply ako sa ganitong call center, offering 15,000 sign-up bonus, may 15,000 ako for a month. Pero what about the long term? So, based dun sa mga na-interview mo na, and I don't know, people that you know from the industry, na is it prevalent na may short-term thinking or or marami rin bang nag-iisip ng long-term? And ano yung benefits ng staying in one call center for a long time?
Okay. Siguro based on my experience as a recruiter, mas madami akong nakikitang parang short-term yung pag-iisip. Iilan-ilan na lang yung nakikita natin talagang gustong magstay sa company ng matagal. Minsan din kasi nai-influence ng mga kasama, may offer sa ganito, mas mataas. So, yun, yung influences din ng mga kasama sa trabaho, ganon, or yung mga kakilala in the business. So, yun yung madalas na nagiging cause kung bakit nagkakaroon tayo ng, issues with commitment. Yun.
So, since maraming ganyan, na short-term thinking lang, na lipat ng lipat, siguro, especially na rin based on your experience since you've been with your company for 6 years, ano yung benefit of staying in one company for a long time? Kasi sometimes, depending on the person you talk to, ano? Minsan 2 years is a long time, 4 years is a long time, or 5 years. Or sige, what's the benefit of staying in a call center for longer than 3 years? Yan.
Okay, well, personally siguro, I would say, mas yung adjustment, I mean, mahirap kasi yung palipat-lipat ka and you have to adjust again to the people that you will work with. So mas okay yung at least fully adjusted ka na with the people. Minsan makaka-encounter ka ng bagong team managers na hindi mo pala kasundo. Lalo na pag lumipat ka na naman ng bagong center. Pangalawa siguro yung pagle-lesson ng requirements, I mean, ng expenses when it comes to getting requirements. So, pangatlo would be yung opportunities within the company na hindi mo pa nakikita at hindi mo pa na-explore. So, maraming opportunities na minsan ayaw mo i-take advantage dahil mas inisip mo pwedeng i-offer to ng ibang companies na minsan naman hindi mo naman makukuha agad-agad dahil newbie ka nga in that particular center. So siguro yun yung tatlo siguro na nakikita kong benefits ng pagsistay ng matagal sa isang company.
So, since nabanggit mo na rin na actually you have better chances to be promoted, 'di ba? From within the company. Kasi are there instances where halimbawa agent ako from one call center tapos I transfer, can they hire me as a team leader? Nangyayari ba 'yon?
Well, meron nang hinahanap na specific skills bago ka ma-hire as a team leader. Kailangan may experience muna as one bago ka namin i-hire as team leader. So, kailangan the experience would compensate what we're currently looking for.
Can you tell us a little bit paano ka nag-transition from agent to recruiter? What process did you go through?
Okay, it was an internal application. So there was an internal vacancy notice that I saw sa company's website. So I took advantage of that dahil yung job na ino-offer ay related sa tinapos kong course. So sabi ko naman, I don't want to work ng matagal as an agent. So, I would also see opportunities within the company kung saan ma-explore ko yung other skills, gano'n. And, yun, dahil nga nagkaroon ng opening sa recruitment, I took advantage of that.
So, ano nga yung course na tinapos mo before?
I finished industrial psychology.
So, swak na swak sa HR functions, no?
Yes, that's correct.
So, ayan na. In addition to that, so I think ang magandang kwento dun sa'yo, it's that even if at first, hindi related yung course mo dun sa pagiging call center agent, no? Well, but I think the training is still important. Halimbawa, yung research skills when you were in college. But then, after spending 2 years as an agent, finally, you found an opportunity that's more in line with what you finished. So ayan. Pagdating naman sa mga job seekers, what do you think are the common mistakes of the applicants? Kasi sabi mo, you're interviewing or processing 80 applicants per day. So maybe if you can just give us 1, 2, or maybe 3 mistakes that you see na very common among our job applicants.
Siguro I can only point out one. Yung pag-a-apply sa call center na hindi mo alam kung ano yung gagawin mo. Because we have a lot of applicants like that, wherein magsasabi ng resume, tapos tatanungin mo anong ina-applyan, hindi niya alam kung paano niya sasagutin dahil hindi niya alam kung ano yung trabahong pinapasukan niya. So, yun ang alam ko na siguro number one mistake ng mga aplikante natin. So, before applying siguro, we have to research kung ano ba talaga yung gusto mong pasukan. Ganon.
So, that's surprising, ano? Kasi supposedly bago ka mag-apply, at least you know what are the job descriptions, ano yung mga skills na hinahanap. So, nabasa-basa din pag may time. Di ba? But, well, I think siguro kasi merong certain stigma yung call center kasi marami ako naririnig minsan, even among some friends and some bloggers, I think, pero they have this notion na call center lang. So, I'm putting some quotes, unquote dun, ano? Kasi parang, call center lang yan. Madali lang yan. So, what can you say to that?
Well, it's not as easy as what they think. Kasi, if you're in or working as a call center agent already, since I have the experience or I had the experience, I worked as one before, hindi ganun kadali eh. The adjustment that you have to do when it comes to the schedule, sobrang hirap. Pangalawa, hindi lang yung sasagot ka lang ng hello when the customer talks. Kasi kailangan mo rin mag-isip eh. Sometimes you have to think outside the box. May mga bagay na tinatanong yung customer na hindi provided during training. So you also have to think about how to answer your customers when it comes to the questions not taught during training. So kailangan natin pagganahin yung problem solving and decision making skills from time to time. So I think yun yung isa.
Okay. Actually, I've also served as a call center agent for 1 year. It was an Australian account, credit cards, so it's like very stressful. So, ano naman masasabi mo? How did you cope with stress nung agent ka pa? And what can you say na some of the good practices na pwedeng gawin ng mga nag-apply sa call center? So at least they know what to expect pagdating sa trabaho.
Okay. Well, what to expect? Unang-una, syempre, kailangan mong maging very flexible when it comes to the schedule. Kasi nagbabago. Pati off mo, kailangan mong maging too flexible. Pag minsan, bibigyan ka ng split offs. So, yun yung tinatawag nating off in the middle of the week. Tapos, yung kalahati nun or yung isa nun, nasa dulo ng week. So, yun yung adjustment na kailangan nating paghandaan. And siguro pag nagtatrabaho ka na as an agent, huwag nating dinadala pati sa bahay syempre marami tayong iba-iba yung customers natin. Maraming mga customers na pwedeng makarinig ka ng mga salitang hindi mo pa naririnig even in your lifetime. So, kailangan hindi natin yung dinadala even at home. May mga naririnig ako na lalo na yung mga first week pa lang sa operations, they would usually dream of like a customer. Yung napapanaginipan nila usually yun. So, yung pag dinadala kasi natin yung stress, minsan talagang sa sobrang pag-iisip natin, kahit sa pagtulog. Ayun. So, at least we also have to find time then para sa sarili natin, like going out from time to time, ganon. Yun, wag nating dalhin pati sa bahay, yun, yung trabaho.
Yeah, kasi minsan, lalong-lalo na for people who are riding the MRT, sometimes you would notice siguro yung mga bago sa call center, they would still be speaking in English with some friends, no? Tapos ang lakas-lakas nila magsalita sa train, gano'n.
Kaya normally, when I'm with friends, ayun na, kasi most of my friends are in the business as well. Sila, usually, nasa operations. So, ayun na, ayoko yung nag-uusap kami about work. Kasi, syempre, iniisip ko rin, di kayo ma-apektuhan kayo lalo kasi yung pinag-uusapan natin. Tayo na nandito, we should talk about other things, parang outside work na lang kung po pwede, para hindi na tayo ma-stress.
Yeah, tama. That's good practice, I think. Tapos siguro, Melvin, ito na lang, Can you give us some tips for job seekers, especially pag halimbawa sa resume, sa cover letter, sa exams, and of course sa interview? Siguro lang if you could just give just a few tips para lang mas mapadali yung buhay nila.
Alright. Sa yung cover letter, if you're applying in a call center, hindi siya ganon kakailangan yung cover letter. Resume, oo. Kailangan yon. It's a must. Siguro based on my experience, you would always suggest that at least 3 pages lang, 2 to 3 pages lang yung resume. Kasi meron tayong mga applicants na yung medyo graduate ng, let's say, around 2000 or early 2000. So they would usually put yung halos lahat na experiences nila sa buhay. And when the recruiter would review before the interview, I mean the resume before the interview, so natatagalan yung recruiter kasi ang haba nung i-review niya. We normally suggest at least 7 years back when it comes to work experience. Kasi yun lang yung normally tinatanong ng recruiters. So, and also, pag nagpapa-interview, we have to make sure na alam natin kung ano nakasulat sa resume. Kasi meron tayong mga applicants that they don't know kung kailan sila graduate. So, minsan, pag naiinis ako sa applicants, I would usually tell, ako nga, alam ko kung kailan ako graduate ng college. Ikaw, mas bata ka pa sa akin, di mo alam kung kailan ka graduate. So, we have to make sure na alam natin yung dates, inclusive dates. Meron na tayong mga applicants na hindi nila alam kung yung inclusive dates ng pagtrabaho nila sa isang company. So we have to be to know yung kung ano yung laman ng resume kasi wala namang nakakakilala sa atin kundi tayo lang din mismo na gumawa ng resume. Tapos minsan mas nauhuli ka pa or meron kasi ng mga applicants na who would put confusing dates, ganon, na hindi naman pala totoo. Nasa skill kasi ng recruiter yun kung paano nahuhuli, kung nagsisinungaling pa yung aplikante natin o hindi. So, yun siguro. So, that's with the resume. The cover letter, like what I said, hindi ganun ka-importante. And before going to the interview, make sure na nag-brush up na tayo with our grammar skills. Go back siguro sa mga napag-aralan natin, SVA, that's subject-verb agreement, verb tenses. Normally, yan yung areas na nagkakaroon ng problema, yung mga candidates natin. They would usually use the present tense when presenting something that already happened in the past, na kailangan past tense na, laging present tense pa rin. Meron naman tayong mga na-encounter na halos past tense lahat, kahit. So, yun yung mga kailangan natin, which is very basic, I believe, kasi napag-aralan natin way back elementary days pa tayo. So, ayun, brush up on the grammar skills. And then, huwag natin masyadong pre-practice yung introduction natin dahil alam ng recruiters natin na etong first part na sasabihin na aplikante, alam, praktisado to. So, kaya minsan, nasusurprise tayo sa questions na hindi tayo comfortable. Kasi sa call center, ginigauge nga yung language skills natin. So, at least dapat, alam mo kung paano mag-rebut, alam mo kung paano sasagutin yung susunod na tanong na normally follow-up questions lang yun. Base dun sa mga sinabi natin. Like, if you said, I like watching movies. So, tapos, pag tinanong ka ng recruiter mo, can you tell me about the last movie you've seen? So, tell me about it. Tapos, minsan, hindi mo alam kung ano sasabihin mo dahil, yun pala, praktisado mo lang. So, we have to be very prepared.
So, it's okay to practice, pero wag ka bisote. I mean, make sure that you can express yourself in a spontaneous way.
That's right.
Kasi mahuhuli ka di ba? Kasi sometimes if you're reciting something from memory dahil na practice mo lang, it also shows, di ba? Kasi medyo stiff yung presentation and so mahuhuli ka at mahuhuli in that way. Okay? So siguro na lang just one last question, Melvin. Any last advice you can tell our job seekers?
Well, last advice. Unang-una, if you'd like to work in a call center, tapos hindi talaga ito yung trabahong gusto mo, para isipin na lang natin na, pwedeng ito yung maging key para makapag-apply ka, para makuha mo yung long-term goal mo. Like, let's say, for example, gusto mong maging recruiter in a call center, pwede mong maging paraan or magiging way yung pagiging agent muna bago mo parang pasukin yung trabahong talagang gusto mo. So, when applying in a call center, kailangan nating nakaset na yung mga goals natin. Be it short term or long term. Yun, siguro.
Yun, gusto ko yun mahalaga yung goals na short term and long term. So at least even if you could say that working in a call center is a stepping stone, at least if you know yung long term goals mo, if you know what you want, hindi ka rin naman madaling masa-sidetrack, no?
That's correct.
So yun, Melvin, thank you so much for agreeing to this interview. And if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that? Do you have a blog, or is it okay for people to send your email or an email or?
Well, I don't do blogs anymore. They can perhaps just visit my Facebook account. Email address that I use is melvin927@yahoo.com, because there are a lot of Melvin Dizon in Facebook. So please don't use that. Mako-confuse lang kayo. Ayun.
And so thank you so much, Melvin, and this has been a very interesting interview. I will be providing some of the show notes and the highlight of this interview below the online player. And so thank you so much for listening to the Happy Yuppie podcast, and until next week.